Here's that Mueller poll again. 57% say they had no more doubts about the Trump presidency. Andy Puzder joins us now. Andy, I call that good news for the president post-Mueller. What do you say?
No, it's great news for the president post-Mueller. And what people should also realize is that there was a real conspiracy, not the smoky room kind of conspiracy, but a deep state conspiracy where people were, you had political operatives in the press and the FBI, law enforcement officials, all putting this kind of made-up story together, and now people are now saying it's not true.
Now, do you think the president should go after the deep state conspiracy, or should he just move on, drop it, move on, let's get on with it, or what should he do?
Well, look, we can't let this happen to another president. As President Trump said that. I think what we need to do is not go after the deep state in particular, but go after individuals who really violated their responsibilities, violated the sacred trust they hold as officers of the government, and find out who they are and let them know that this kind of behavior is completely unacceptable.
So hardline Trump, right?
I would be hardline with this. I think it's time.
It was definitely taking a hard line with the Federal Reserve. He was tweeting about that again. Here it is. Had the Fed not mistakenly raised interest rates, especially since there is very little inflation, and had they not done the ridiculously timed quantitative tightening, the 3% GDP and stock market would have both been much higher, and world markets would be in a better place. Mr. Trump wants the Fed to cut rates by 50 basis points. Larry Kudlow agrees with him. Stephen Moore, maybe at the Fed, agrees with that too. The president doesn't want, he wants to keep the economy rolling all through the 2020 election. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, the Democrats want to stop it. Look, if the dollar is very, very strong because interest rates were increased eight consecutive quarters, the economy is very strong, which further strengthens the dollar. And when the dollar's strong, obviously other countries have a hard time buying our products. We have an easier time buying other countries' products. So you see our exports go down, our imports go up, and that has a direct impact on GDP, on economic growth. So the president's right. If it hadn't been for those last two interest rate increases, I think we needed some, but the last two were over the top, and he was critical of it at the time, as was Steve Moore and as was Larry Kudlow. If it hadn't been for those cuts, I think we could have had well in excess of 3% GDP growth last year, and we would have had a much better first quarter.
Yes, we would indeed. Andy, thank you very much for joining us this morning.